Mom, please take care of my children. It was my true wish that my daughter took her last breath. She was only 35 years old. She should have had a bright future with her husband, Asan, and their 3 children. The image of my daughter who tried to be a mother to the end and left her children in the dark. It is still burned into my mind. I hope that she can overcome this sadness, and that one day she will be able to proudly report to her parents. I continued to live my life desperately to support my grandchildren. One day, Asan told me that she had something to tell me, so I headed to the house. All 3 of her grandchildren were sitting on the sofa in the living room watching TV. When I asked her what she wanted to tell me, Asan laughed loudly. I will give up on my children's seriousness. It's a word that is so unbelievable that I thought I might have misheard. I'm not going to be a father anymore. I couldn't believe my ears at such light words. Why would she say that? I tightly gripped my hands, trembling with anger. If I didn't do this, my emotions would explode. I'm remarrying. Just between you and me, the other woman is the daughter of a company president. Unlike Misaki, she is a rich girl. After all, I want to enjoy life. So I don't need those brats. As Akira said this, it seemed like he only had a future ahead of him. Asa-san couldn't stop at me, astonished and speechless. That's why I'm giving the ugly brats to you. Wow, it's really funny to see them all looking the same. Saying this, he started laughing, holding his stomach. Asa-san. The grandchildren looked at each other in a flock, and I couldn't help but hug them. Just as I was about to burst out laughing, it was my eldest daughter who started laughing first. As if caught up in that, my daughter and 3rd daughter also cried out and all 3 of them started laughing out loud. What is the reason for this laughter? My name is Tanaka Seiko. I lost my husband to illness before my daughter Misaki started elementary school. One day, my husband, whose only good point was his vitality, was suddenly found to be ill. My husband went to the hospital because it was just for a checkup, and never came back home. Is Dad still not coming home? Misaki asked me this, and I smiled weakly in my hospital bed. The name of my wife, which was given to me from my will, was so short that I didn't even have time to prepare myself. Still, I can't forget the promise I made to my husband while holding his hand. Please take good care of Sachiko Misa. Please raise her well for me. With those words in my heart, I raised Misaki alone as a woman. The first few years were just desperate. I woke up before dawn, prepared a simple breakfast, and woke Misaki up. I somehow managed to feed Misaki, who was exhausted, and get her ready and send her to nursery school. I ran to work and did my full-time job. When I finished work, I picked up Misaki from nursery school, made dinner and fed her. I gave her a bath and put her to bed. Then, I did the housework that had piled up in the middle of the night, and finally fell asleep around midnight. Even when I caught a cold, I didn't have time to rest. Every day was so hard. Still, when I saw Misa's face, I naturally felt strength welling up. I love you, Mommy. Every time I hugged her and took Misaki in, I remembered the promise I made to my husband. I was driven by a sense of mission that I had to protect this child. As Misa grew up, she started to take good care of me. Plates arranged uselessly by her small hands. Towels folded crumpled up. I couldn't help but laugh when I saw it, and my heart was warmed. Misaki grew up to be a kind woman who puts in a lot of effort and cares for her family. From an early age, she was always ready to lend a hand to anyone in need. While I admired her for her appearance, I also felt a little sorry. I'm sure I must have made Misa feel lonely while raising her alone. Even so, Misa never blamed me and always said with a smile, "I'll do my best too, Mom, so you can rely on me for anything." How many times have those words saved me? Even when I felt like I was about to give up, I was able to persevere because Misa was by my side. Eventually, Misa married Asan, who is 3 years older than me. I was so happy when I heard the news. Misa is getting married. I raised Misaki well on my own. I was able to keep my promise to you. I remember that when I spoke to my husband with my hands together at the Buddhist altar, I felt a little lonely for some reason and tears flowed. Fortunately, they ended up living near my house. Time passed and I was blessed with 3 grandchildren. My eldest daughter Yuna, my second daughter Nori, and my third daughter. Whenever I saw Misaki when she was little, I thought that she looked just like Misa. Misa and I were said to look alike, so I guess I look like her too. My grandchildren were very fond of me and gave me innocent smiles. That relationship didn't change even after they became elementary school students. Grandma. On days off, as soon as the front door opens, the 3 little shadows jump in. My grandchildren laugh and open their arms, and hug me in turn. "Hey, what's for dinner today? Hamburg steak, curry, fried chicken? I want fried chicken." My face lit up with requests flying one after another. "Today, I'll make Grandma's specialty fried chicken." After saying that, the 3 of them finished cooking and put it in the dining room. It had become a habit for the 3 of them to come over on weekends, eat dinner, and then go home. And after the meal, everyone always asks for old stories, talking about when Mom was little. That's right. Oh, the first time Mom made tamagoyaki for me. "Wow, Mom said that." But she mixed up the sugar and salt and made it really salty. The 3 of them all said, and laughed out loud in surprise. Their faces looked so cute that I couldn't help but feel proud. Hey, let's talk more, talk about all sorts of things, and laugh together with our grandchildren. Those times were the happiest of all. On the other hand, I felt something strange about Asan. He was polite and gentle from the first time I met him. In front of me, he was kind to his grandchildren and spoke to them with a smile. On the surface, there was nothing wrong with him and he seemed like a good father. But, how should I put it, I felt something strange deep in my heart. Asan's presence was the only one who seemed out of place in the family. I can't explain it well, but he seemed a little distant. I wonder why. While I was thinking about it, I noticed something. Asan's eyes were not smiling. It was as if she had no heart. No, it was just my imagination. I thought about it many times and shook off the discomfort. A-san runs a company. She probably doesn't have time to do it with her busy work schedule. There's no way she could relax at her wife's parents' house. She must be just nervous. I wanted to think so, but the other day I went to see an exhibition where her paintings were on display. Even when I try to lighten the mood by talking about my family like this, A-san always gives the same answer. She reacts, but I can tell she has no interest at all. The conversation often ends there. Even when Emma happily talks about her family, A-san just hits her with a loving hammer and doesn't try to get deeply involved herself. Even though she's family, she's somehow aloof. But A-san is busy with work. Misa always says that and smiles. Her face looked happy. If things are going well between the couple, there's no need for me to go out of my way to stir up trouble. I don't want to ruin Misaki's happiness. I just watch over her without saying anything. But no matter how much time passed, my anxiety about Ace's spiritual impression did not go away. Her attitude, tone, and atmosphere towards Misa and her grandchildren somehow bothered me. The other day, we went on a trip as a family. Every time Misa came to our house, she would often tell me fun stories about her family. When I only listen to Misa's stories, it sounds like a really close family, so maybe I'm overthinking it. But lately, I feel like Misa looks a little pale. I wonder if she's doing something difficult at home. Is Asa a good husband and father to Misa and her grandchildren? Every time such thoughts crossed my mind, I felt a pain like a small tear was stabbed deep in my heart. But I never interjected. Misa has never complained to me. So I thought that I shouldn't say anything until Misa said it herself. But every time I saw Misa, my anxiety grew day by day. I work from early in the morning until late at night, and when I get home, I immediately make dinner. I check the kids' homework, give them a bath, put them to bed, and do the housework. Yes, Misaki was doing all the work, housework and childcare all by herself. I wonder if she was getting enough sleep. She looks pale recently, but I wonder if she's pushing herself too hard and ruining her health. Her busy schedule reminded me of how I used to be. Moreover, Misaki has 3 children. Unlike me, she's not a single mother, but I'm sure she has a harder time than me. Even though she's not a single mother, it seems that A-san hardly helps with childcare. When Misaki was still small, she would cry when she was hungry, but A-san would just play with her smartphone without changing her expression or looking at the other children. Oh, this person really doesn't do anything. I remember feeling that way. I thought that this would improve as the children grow up in the family, but it seemed to stay the same. The grandchildren didn't seem to be very attached to their father. It's boring to talk to Dad. Come on, Dad is always on his smartphone at home. Mom always seems to be busy. The grandchildren sometimes seem that way. The girl who was complaining is really tired. Even though they are still in elementary school, they are watching their parents closely. I can't help it. But it is true that Misaki is under a lot of pressure from the grandchildren's point of view. Is it really okay to leave it like this? Should I say something to Misaki? While I was worrying about such things, my mother Misaki collapsed at night. When I received the call, my whole body froze. She said that she had suddenly complained while at work and was rushed to the hospital. I rushed to the hospital and found Misaki lying on the bed in the hospital room. It seems that she had pushed herself too hard. Her arm, which was connected to tenduki, was slower than I had ever seen it before. I think it was probably just overwork. She had been having stomach pains for a while. Misa said this and laughed weakly. Is he really just a man? Even though I don't want to think about it, I can't help but think of him as my husband 30 years ago. I had a bad feeling. It's okay, it's okay. I felt better after the match. I'm sure she'll say that and show me her usual smile. Misaki is still 35 years old. Her grandchild is still in elementary school. There is still a long way to go. Misa must be the most worried. What if I, her mother, don't believe you? I told myself. But such hopes were crushed. Mom bit me. When I went to visit her, she broke down in tears and said that her uterus was already in the final stages and that her baby was only 6 months old. Why couldn't Misaki accept it as reality? I could only hold Misaki's trembling shoulders. Misa started talking while sobbing. I've been thinking that something's wrong with my body lately. My body is getting thinner day by day, and I've had constant lower abdominal pain, fatigue, and no appetite. But she said that she was overworked because she was busy with work and housework and childcare. Thinking back, I've noticed that Misa's complexion was bad several times before. But I didn't say it out loud. If I had said something, the future would have been different. Maybe. I couldn't help but blame myself. Yuna Rimi. You see, Mom was found to have something bad and had to be hospitalized. I'll definitely come back, so be a good girl. Misa didn't show her tears to her 3 sisters. She told them with a smile, looking at their faces. She must be trying to reassure me. I desperately tried to hold back the tears that welled up. From then on, I went to the hospital every day while helping take care of my grandchildren. I heard that some people have been cured after trying this medicine, so I'll go to the doctor. I looked at all kinds of books and the internet. I researched everything that could possibly cure me and asked Ishii. But Ishii never denied it. If only I had found it a little earlier, that would have been all. Misaki was just trying her best for her children. I couldn't help but feel regretful that it had eaten away at her body to this extent. There was no fundamental treatment, and every day was spent just relieving her pain. Misaki was getting weaker day by day. I didn't know how to accept such a cruel truth. But Misaki smiled every day. How were the children? Are they sleeping properly, all by themselves? Are they eating properly? Are they not crying? Whenever she opened her mouth, it was all about the 3 sisters. Ah, Misa is a mother even at times like these. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to let them have everything. I wanted them to have no worries. I told them in detail how my grandchildren were doing every day. After school, she would sometimes come to visit with her grandchildren. When the grandchildren were around, Misaki would talk cheerfully and happily. As a mother, I want to be strong in front of my children. Tears welled up again at Misa's feelings. Meanwhile, Asa-san is busy with work, so I'll leave Misa to my mother. He hardly showed up at the hospital because of work. Even though his wife is Miss Sue, he's still working at a time like this. What kind of work takes priority over his wife? I thought about complaining to Misaki, but I refrained. I didn't want Misaki to feel unnecessary anxiety until the very end. Her condition was getting worse day by day. I don't have an appetite anymore. I'm sorry you went to the trouble of bringing it to me. Eventually, Misa could no longer eat anything and she stopped receiving treatment from the bed. Her memory was also vague and there were days when she slept all day. I couldn't do anything and just held her hand and watched over her beside the bed every day. One day, she was relatively conscious. Mom, there's something I want to ask of you. Misa held my hand with a weak hand. What? I'll do anything I can for my mother. Go. Then Misa smiled and tightened her hand. Please take care of the children. Those words pierced my heart. Why do you say it's over already? I couldn't hold back the tears. Don't say that. You're going home, aren't you? There's still hope. But Misa smiled and shook her head, shedding a tear. I want my children to smile even after I'm gone. Mom, please. Protect those children. I couldn't say anything anymore. I just held Misa's hand back, nodded repeatedly, desperately trying to suppress the rising of Okoshi. And as the days passed and the cherry blossoms fell, Misaki quietly took her last breath. The image of my daughter who tried to be a mother to the end and left her 3 sisters in the dark. It still burned into my brain. That moment in the hospital room when I felt the strength to hold her hand back disappear. Just like with my husband. I couldn't do anything again. I was overcome with a feeling of helplessness. I didn't want to talk about those hands that were losing their warmth. Mommy, look away. Yuna and Rin both understood the death of their mother, and were holding Misa's hands and crying. They held her hands and wouldn't let go, but Misa, who was only 6 years old, was different. What happened to Mommy? She looked ahead with a puzzled expression. Her voice was so innocent and pure, and her expression, which had not yet fully understood the meaning of death, was painful to the touch. After that, the funeral ended in a flash. The virtual coffin was slowly carried to the back. I never thought I would be the one to send my daughter off. It's the wrong order. Misa, no matter how many times I called her name, she never replied. I didn't even have time to slowly soak in my grief, and I was busy preparing and greeting her. No, maybe I was deceiving my deep grief by letting myself get busy. But even in that situation, Asan's attitude was cold and cold. While his grandchildren were crying in front of Misaki's house, Asan folded his arms and sighed tiredly. Phew. Finally finished. When I heard him mutter this, my spine froze. What on earth is this person saying? I couldn't believe it as a fellow human being. Now that I'm finally free, I'm going to enjoy my life from now on. After the guests had left, Asan said this with a look of relief on his face. It was as if he had no feelings at all about his wife being gone. Do you know what you're saying? I couldn't help but exude anger in his tone. But Asan didn't seem sorry at all. On the contrary, he spoke even more unbelievable words. Oh, that's right. It's fine for the children to be taken care of by their mother. Right? What do you mean? I couldn't believe my ears. Then Asan sighed deliberately and seemed to mock me. So you think I can be a parent now? Even now, most of us are at home. I think the children would be happier that way. I was so shocked that I couldn't say a word. It's true that since Saga was hospitalized, my grandchildren spent a lot of time at my house. When I came home from the hospital, I would greet my grandchildren when they came home from school, help them do their homework, and feed them. After they took a bath, I would take them home and go to the hospital again in the morning. I thought that Asan would be able to take care of my grandchildren in the morning, but in reality, the three of them were doing their best by themselves. While my grandchildren were crying and trying to accept their mother's death, I was enjoying my freedom. Although I had always felt something strange about Akira, he was polite to me at least. But the man standing in front of me now responded in that way. His eyes and words made me look belittled. This was the man's true nature. I had done everything for such a man, and then my short life as a hurdle came to an end. Tears welled up in my eyes. I was frustrated and sad. And above all, I couldn't forgive the fact that Misaki had not been rewarded. I hugged my crying grandchildren tightly without saying anything. After that, the three of them spent most of their time at my house. Before, they were at home at night, but now they often stayed over at my house. It's more fun to be with grandma than at home. That's what my grandchildren said innocently. But I know that the three of them remember Misa and cry at night. That they call her Mommy in their sleep and long for her. I have to do my best so that these children can overcome this sadness. And I continued to live my life desperately to support my grandchildren so that I can tell them proudly one day. After living like that for several months, one day, I was told that there was something to talk about, so I went to Asan's house. Oh, come on, Grandma. All three of my grandchildren were sitting on the sofa in the living room watching TV. I didn't know what they were talking about, so I asked them as quietly as possible so that they wouldn't hear. But my concern was probably meaningless. Asan laughed and said loudly, I'm going to give up on these children's seriousness. It was so unbelievable that I thought I might have misheard, so I'm not going to be a father anymore. I couldn't believe my ears at such light words. Why would you do that? I tightly gripped my hands, which were trembling with anger. If I didn't do this, my emotions would explode. I'm going to remarry. Just between you and me, the other woman is the daughter of a company president. Unlike Misato, she's a rich girl. After all, I want to enjoy life. That's why I don't need those brats. As Akira said this, it seemed like he could only see the future. Asa-san couldn't stop as I was dumbfounded and speechless. That's why I'm giving you the ugly brats. No, it's really funny to see how many of them look the same. Asa-san said this and started laughing, holding her stomach. The grandchildren looked at each other in a frozen state, and I couldn't help but hug them. Just when I had stopped making fun of them and was about to hit them, it was Yuna who started laughing first. As if drawn in by that, Rito and Ko also cried out and all three of them started laughing out loud. It was by no means a happy laugh. It was a strange laugh that was a mixture of sarcasm, astonishment, anger and despair. They must have been heartbroken to see their father desperately trying to abandon them. At first, I was surprised by the laughter. But I soon realized. They don't pay attention to me. They don't play with me. They don't care about me. She won't tell me. It was a laughter of farewell, reached after all that sorrow and suffering. Ace's expression became grim in an instant. It was such a cold, dry laugh. Asa cried out in disgust. What? Are you guys laughing at? Are you kidding me? However, in the eyes of her grandchildren looking at Asa, there was no love they once had for their father. There was only deep disappointment and boredom. That was all. Seeing this, Akira probably thought that no matter what he said, it wouldn't change anything. Without saying a word, he made a loud noise and went into his room. I quietly embraced my grandchildren again. I gently wrapped my arms around their small shoulders and felt their warmth. These children have already experienced more than enough sorrow. To lose their beloved mother and be abandoned even by their own father. I will definitely protect these children. I quietly vowed to myself as I held the frail bodies of my grandchildren. After that, I took the three of them back to my house. Then Yuna timidly took something out of her cupboard. Mom told me to give this to Grandma when she was in trouble. It was a letter. A letter from Misa. I took it with trembling hands and cut it off. It said, "Please take care of Mom and the children. I want you to smile for me." Quote. It was unmistakably written by Misaki. The pain of not being able to raise 3 more children with my own hands. I should have done this. The regret of what I wanted to do from now on. Such regret was written in it. I wonder what she was thinking when she wrote this letter. The letter was played in my head with Misaki's voice, and tears of human nature flowed. But from there on, it said, "Mom, I want to believe in Asan." But for a moment, I was suffocated. And then, as I continued reading the rest of the text, I was stunned. Written there was a certain doubt about Akira. I want to believe in Asan, but the doubts won't go away. I could see the inner conflict in Misaki's mind. When I finished reading the letter, I tightened my hands as I held it. My husband, who pushed all the housework and childcare onto me and was indifferent to his family. My husband, who hardly showed up at the hospital even when I was suffering from Tono illness. But Misa still wanted to believe. Her love as a husband, her love as a father. But somewhere she was not sure. A certain determination dwelled in my heart. I would no longer waver. I slowly folded the letter and quietly closed my eyes. The tears no longer flowed. I would be the parent of these children. I would protect them and give them lots of love. Thus, with Ace's consent, I decided to proceed with the arrangement of the appearance of my grandchildren. Over the next few weeks, I prepared the documents and proceeded with the procedures for the arrangement. With Akira's permission, my grandchildren were officially living in my house. I haven't heard anything from Akira since then. I wonder if he doesn't care about his child's condition even though the arrangement of the appearance of the child has not been completed yet. Well, he is a man who abandoned his own child. There is no way he would be concerned about such a thing now. That's what I thought, but today on the way home from school, my father was at the gate. There. He told me to come home next time, but I ignored him. Asa started to push the names for some reason. Then, one day, he suddenly came to my house. After all, I'm the one who should raise the children. A father should raise them. It was just a few weeks ago that I said I was going to give up on my grandchildren. But that's not all. Asan's behavior escalated when she thought she couldn't get her grandchild back. She started crying that my neighbors had taken her grandchild away. Because of that, I became the subject of whispers in the neighborhood. I've been living here for decades, and I've been helping my neighbors and getting along well. Every day when I go shopping, I feel the gazes of the neighbors. I heard. She took her grandchild away as soon as her daughter died. It's terrible to separate a child from its real father. The whispering voices pointed at my back. Even when I approached her to make excuses, she would quickly go inside the house and close the door. I wonder if I was wrong. Before I knew it, I had completely stopped going out. I would sneak out to go shopping after dark. But my grandchildren soon noticed something was wrong with me. Grandma didn't do anything like that, but Dad was always lying. And he flatly denied it to the neighbors. Then the neighbors started to listen to me. When I explained the situation, it seems that their doubts about me were cleared. The rumors died down, and I was able to return to my normal daily life. Before I knew it, he had become more mature. I thought I was protecting my grandchildren, but I was also being protected by them. I was happy to see my grandchildren growing up. At the same time, I wondered what he was thinking, spreading such false rumors. I was surprised when I heard that he was giving up on his father because he was completely indifferent to his grandchildren even when Misa was alive. But somewhere in my heart I thought that I had expected it. But in just a few weeks, he changed his opinion 180 degrees and suddenly claimed to be the father. I didn't understand. My anger towards him only grew day by day. Then one day, my smartphone rang. It was Asan on the other end of the phone. To be honest, I didn't want to answer. But if it was about his father or his appearance, I couldn't ignore it. I let out a short sigh and slid the screen. Hey, what's going on? The phone call echoes with Ya-san's insults. What a dirty word to call me stupid. What have you done to me? You should take responsibility. Ah-san's insults never stop. Hearing that voice, I couldn't help but smile. This all started a few days ago. One day, I received a phone call. The caller was an unknown number. I usually don't answer unknown numbers, but on this day, for some reason, I felt I had to answer. Hello. Who is this? The man on the other end of the phone introduced himself as Sheena. When I heard what he said, Sheena was making fun of the father of the woman who was going to marry Asan. I couldn't help but gasp. The Sheena Group is a famous large company that everyone knows. The woman who was going to remarry Ah-san was Ayaka-san, one of the members of the Sheena Group. I thought she was just being tough and saying something like she was the daughter of a company president, but I never thought it was true. According to Sheena, she was suspicious of Ah-san's true nature and had been investigating her before they got married. That's when she found me and wanted to talk to me. I told Sheena everything I knew. About the strangeness of A-san after her marriage, how she treated her grandchildren, how her attitude changed after her daughter's death, and that A-san was in huge debt and was embezzling the company's money. This was written in the letter from Misaki. Misaki had doubts about A-san's reckless spending when she was alive. After a little research, she found out that she had the evidence. While wondering what to do about this, she found out that she had an illness. I want to believe A-san. But this is undeniable evidence. For A-san's sake, I have to stop this. Such conflicts were written in the letter. The location of the evidence was also written in the letter. After telling her everything, Sheena sighed deeply. Is that so? I thought so. Then she started talking bit by bit. Ayaka, one of them, has a bright and sociable personality. Although she is a reliable person, she is the type who will go ahead with anything once she makes a decision. It seems that Ayaka and A-san met at a party of the Sheena Group. Ayaka fell in love with A-san at first sight, and after Ayaka's further advances, they started dating. When asked about the time, it was just after Misa passed away. A-san had told her that Misa had passed away and that she had a child, but she hadn't told her that she was in debt. It was that man. She was probably thinking of marrying him for his wealth. A-san was usually frugal and lived a flashy life. On top of that, Ayaka was head over heels in love with Akira. It seemed that she had no idea that he was in debt. Akira had also tearfully told Ayaka about his breakup with Mi, and Ayaka herself had completely believed it. When Ayaka introduced Akira to her parents, she said that he was a truly kind person with a pure heart. A-san must have taken advantage of the fact that she had fallen in love with him at first sight and calculatedly played the role of Ayaka's ideal man. However, Sheena's eyes could not be fooled. The lines of the conversation didn't line up. When asked about her company or her home, she would laugh and change the subject. I realized something was wrong when I asked about the children. Ah, that instrument. No, those kids are from my mother-in-law, aren't they? I'm busy too. But I'll bring them home next time, so please meet them. Sheena frowned when I suddenly called her child, that brat. He didn't mention any specific episodes with the children, and it was obvious that she had no involvement with them. Above all, her eyes were not smiling. He seemed to know by intuition. He said that he decided to investigate if she was lying. I will explain it to my daughter as well. Thank you. With that polite thank you, the phone call ended that day. Was the reason why Asa-san changed her attitude immediately after declaring that she was giving up seriousness in order to match Sheena-san and the others? He is a man who is always in the center of accidents. I was actually interested in him. A few days later, I received a call from Sheena-san to report the situation. As a result of the investigation, it was discovered that the academic gift Asa-san had sent to Ayaka-san was misappropriating company funds. It was also said that she had been spending a lot of money on other things. Apparently, he told Ayaka everything, including what I had heard from him, such as the fact that he had been married to Sanemiya and his grandchildren. Ayaka looked like she couldn't believe it. Ayaka had hoped to have a happy family with her children in the future. She was deeply shocked that A, who she thought was a perfect husband, had been treating her children and wife like a child. Furthermore, debts and other issues piled up, and the engagement was abruptly killed off. This is undoubtedly what A meant when she told him to take responsibility. He probably told her some lies anyway. You can tell me it was a lie even now. Sheena promised that she would never say anything about my involvement. So I probably intuitively thought I was involved. But I had no intention of hiding it either. I just answered honestly to the questions I was asked. I wonder if there was a lie. When I answered so confidently, I heard the sound of him scratching his head in irritation from the other end of the phone. When I remained silent, Akira suddenly spoke loudly as if he had had an idea. The children. I was going to raise them after all. Then Ayaka might come back again. I didn't understand what it meant. According to Asa-san, Ayaka-san loves children, probably because she doesn't have any siblings. Apparently, as the engagement talks were progressing, she had said that she wanted to meet the three, Yuna and Riko. Even now that the engagement is in full swing, she is still trying to get back together by using her grandchildren. What a lonely person. Why would she want to use her children for her own lordly desires? Asa-san's way of thinking was the best evidence that she didn't care about the three sisters. There's no point in talking anymore. I ignored Akira-san's yelling and hung up the phone. After that, Asa-san hired a lawyer and tried to get the three sisters back somehow, but they would live with their father. Absolutely not. Ri and Miko refused without hesitation. Of course, I told Asa-san about the intentions of the three sisters, but she was not prepared for that. So, with Sheena's help, we decided to hire a lawyer and deal with the situation. Asa-san claimed the true rights of the three sisters. In order to form the Yokozano group, the consent of the father, who is the true rights holder, is required. However, my lawyer pointed out Asa-san's serious problems one after another. Akira had said he would give up the three sisters' licenses and had already begun the process of joining the support group. He had left me to take care of almost all of his grandchildren, even during his wife's illness and death. He was in huge debt and was embezzling money from the company. And above all, his grandchildren insisted that they wanted to live with me. Taking all of these factors into consideration, Asan was stripped of his license. I became the supporter. And so, the support group for me and the three sisters was successfully approved. After that, Akira went crying to Ayaka again, but was turned away. With this, his dream of remaining a reverse marriage was completely shattered. The fortune he had hoped for, a stable future and a life without any inconveniences. All of that crumbled away just like all his hopes. But that wasn't the end. The licenses became a big deal, and Asan's company went bankrupt. Asan's name was spread again in the industry and he was blacklisted. Rumors were spreading that Asan was unable to repay his debts, and eventually collection efforts began. I heard that they were eventually forced to sell their house and lost their place to live. Now I don't even want to know where they are or what they are doing. Meanwhile, our grandchildren have started attending a new school and are gradually getting used to their new life. At first they seemed anxious. But now they come home cheerfully saying, "I'm home," and happily tell me about what happened at school. I made a friend today. The teacher praised me. Every time I hear such words, I feel relieved from the bottom of my heart. These children are walking forward with their eyes on the ground. Just as Misaki wished. One day, while I was preparing dinner, Eunice suddenly looked up at me. I'm glad Grandma was there. I couldn't help but stop what I was doing when I saw her face. I was really worried. I managed to calm my heart and say the words, and the three of them smiled. I feel relieved when I'm with Grandma. I love Grandma as much as I love Mommy. A warm feeling spreads in my heart. Oh, I can protect these children. Just that alone is a great relief. I suddenly looked up at the sky from the window. The pale colors of the sunset spread endlessly. Misa, your children will be fine. I will always protect them. I said this in my mind, and then I felt a gentle breeze blow through from somewhere. The days ahead will be spent together with my grandchildren. There will not only be sadness there. There will be calm, warm, and certain love. Shall we have dinner? As I said this, the cheerful voices of my grandchildren saying, "Yes," echoed through the living room. Thud.
聞いてくれよ。うちの嫁本当に使えなくてさ、もう使用人いいか。仕方ないから俺が生かしてやってんだ。夫の匠の口から発せられた信じがたいセリフに、私は一瞬自分の耳を疑う。しかし、どうやら聞き間違いではなかったようだ。匠は呆然と佇む私を見ながら、義母の明子さんと一緒になってニヤニヤしている。今日は恒例の親族の食事会。旅館の女将である明子さんは、年に数回97人もの親戚を旅館に集めて宴会を開くのだ。匠と明子さんは親戚たちと一緒になって飲み食いしているが、私はいつでも給仕係。せっせと食事を運んでいる最中の匠の爆弾発言に、私は動くこともできなくなってしまった。親戚たちは呆れたような目で私のことを見ている。なんでみんなそんな目で私を見るの？私は私なりに、この旅館のためにずっと頑張ってきたのに。誰も私のことを信じてくれないし、誰も私のことを認めてくれない。なんだ？なんか文句でもあるのか？感情の抜け落ちた目で彼を見ている私に気づいたのか、匠がいたけだかにそう言ってくる。そして、その後も明子さんと一緒になって私のことを罵ると、部屋中に響き渡る声で宣言した。 お前みたいな女とは離婚だ。そうよ。さっさと出て行きなさい。ああ、もうここに私の居場所はないんだ。わかりました。離婚します。まさか離婚を承知すると思っていなかったのか、二人はぎょっとしたような顔をする。それから必死で引き止めようとしてきたが、私は構わず部屋を出た。すると、背後から私の名前を呼ぶ悲鳴のような声が聞こえてくる。振り向くと、匠と明子さんが97人の親戚たちに囲まれていて、私の名前は内藤瑞希、40歳。旅館の女将として働きながら、夫と息子の3人で暮らしている。夫の匠は私より2つ年上の42歳。匠の実家は明治時代から続く老舗旅館で、彼は大学でもお坊ちゃまとして有名だった。洗練された装いに自信に満ち溢れた態度。当時の私は、そんな彼の一挙手一投足に目を引かれ、いつも目で追っていた。そして嬉しいことに彼の方からアプローチしてくれ、交際がスタート。しかし、付き合い始めてみると、匠は人を見下すような発言をすることが多かった。私に対しても常に上から目線。やっぱりお前はダメだな、なんて言われるのも日常茶飯事だった。私は憧れの人と付き合えて舞い上がっていたこともあり、彼のそんな発言もいい方向にばかり捉えていた。やっぱりできる人は違うんだ。頑張らないと。そんなおめでたいことを考えながら、私は匠への尊敬を強めていったのだった。そして、大学卒業後に私たちは結婚。私は、女将見習いとして義実家の旅館の手伝いをするようになったのだった。さっきのお辞儀は何なの？あれじゃ、お客様に失礼でしょ。すみません。義母の明子さんから容赦ない叱責が飛んでくる。彼女はお客様が見えなくなった途端、厳しい声で私を叱りつけた。お辞儀の角度はこうよ、こう！わかった？あ、はい、わかりました。無理やり頭を押さえつけられ、私は痛みに顔をしかめる。私は必死に耐えながら大きな声で返事をした。匠の父親は私たちが結婚する前に亡くなっており、それからは明子さんが女手一つで旅館を経営してきたそうだ。明子さんは女将としてこの旅館を支え続けたという自負があるのだろう。彼女の女将教育はそれは厳しいものだった。私がここまで頑張れたのは、当時はまだ匠のことを心から愛していたからである。愛する夫のためにも早く立派な女将になろう。そう思い、私は辛い女将教育に耐え忍びながら何年も過ごした。その甲斐あってか、私の接客はだんだんとお客様たちにも受け入れられるようになっていった。そのうちに子宝にも恵まれた私は、きっとここから幸せが始まっていくのだろうと信じて疑っていなかった。ところが、息子のサトシを出産した後も、私が思い描いた幸せはいつまで経ってもやってこない。この頃には、私も女将として成長し、業務のほとんどを任されるようになっていた。従業員にも頼られ、旅館にもかなり貢献しているはずなのに、明子さんや匠からの評価が全く変わらないのだ。明子さんからは、どれだけ女将の業務を完璧にこなしたところで、そんなものはできて当たり前だ、と言われる。そして、誰も気にしていないようなあらを探し出しては、 ネチネチと文句を言ってくるのだ。匠の方も以前から全く変わらず、私のことを見下してばかり。子供の夜泣きなどに疲れて、少しでもため息をつこうものなら、ここぞとばかりに、大したこともしてないくせに、と責めてくる。子供の世話を丸投げする上、文句ばかりつけてくる彼に、私の中のフラストレーションはどんどん溜まっていく。そして、それと反比例するように、匠への愛情は急速に失われていった。明子さんも育児に関しては全く手を貸そうとはしないが、サトシのことは可愛がってくれる。ただ、それはサトシ自身が好きというわけではなく、旅館の跡取りとして大事にしているに過ぎないようだ。その証拠に、サトシがご機嫌の時は抱っこしてお客様たちに跡取りだと紹介して回るが、泣けばうるさいと言ってすぐ私に返してくる。しかも、普段はサトシのことを匠に似ていると言っているくせに、泣いて騒げばこういうところはあなたにそっくりね、などと言い放つのだった。そんなある日、明子さんと匠が揃って私のスマホに GPS アプリを入れると言い出した。GPS？ どうしてですか？サトシが心配だからだよ。もしサトシと一緒の時にお前に何かあったら、サトシは一人で取り残されることになるだろう。そういうことを防ぐためにも GPS を入れといた方がいいと思ったのよ。サトシの面倒は見ようとしないくせに、こういうことには口を出してくる。監視されているようで嫌だったが、サトシのためと言われては断ることもできない。私は仕方なく、二人が進める GPS アプリをダウンロードした。その時の満足そうな彼らの顔を見て、私はふと思う。もしかして子供の連れ去りを警戒しているのでは？二人は自分たちの態度が悪いと自覚していて、いつか私がサトシを連れて出ていくと思っているのかもしれない。もし本当にそうなら、こんなことをする前に私への態度を改めてくれればいいのに。まあ、今更二人の性格が変わるなんてことは期待してないけど。別にサトシを連れ去るつもりもないし、私は GPS のことは気にせずに生活することにした。それから、サトシが幼稚園に通い出すようになった頃、私はこの旅館の問題が気になり始めた。それは、子連れ家族にとって不便だという点だ。義実家の旅館は歴史ある老舗という魅力があるものの、今の時代のニーズには十分ではない面もあると感じている。そこで私は子供がいる家族でももっと楽しんでもらえるよう、サービスを充実させたらどうかと明子さんたちに提案したのだった。だが、明子さんと匠は話を聞くなり嘲笑し、頭ごなしに否定してきた。大浴場に赤ちゃん用の風呂を用意するだって？そんなの誰が使うんだよ。だから赤ちゃん連れの家族よ。他にもベビーサークルやおもちゃがある部屋を作ったり、アメニティに子供用の保湿剤とかを追加して。赤ちゃんを連れた家族なんて全体の何割程度だと思ってるの？そんな少ない利用客のために無駄なお金をかけるつもり？子連れのお客様が少ないのは、この旅館がそういう方々にとって不便だからです。サービスを充実させれば、子連れの家族も増えるし、新規客の獲得にだってつながるはずです。私は自分の提案が旅館のためになると必死で訴えるが、彼らの反応が変わることはなかった。バカバカしい。うちはね、昔から常連さんを大事にしてきたのよ。そんなこと考えてる暇があったら、常連さんのためになるサービスを考えなさい。これ以上ふざけたこと言うなよ。お前の考えることなんて完全に時間の無駄だ。あまりにもひどい言葉に、 私はショックで目の前が真っ暗になった。
お母さん、どうしたの？
そこにサトシがやってきて、小さな手で私の顔を包み込む。元気のない母親を見て、彼なりに慰めようとしてくれているのだろう。私は、そんな息子の気持ちが嬉しく、無理やりに笑顔を浮かべた。大丈夫よ。ちょっとお仕事がうまくいかなかっただけ。仕事のことなどまだ何もわからないだろうに、サトシは知ってる限りの言葉で私を励ましてくれる。一生懸命私を元気づけようとしてくれる息子の気持ちが嬉しく、私は涙ぐみながらサトシを抱きしめた。アキコさんとタクミはそんな私たちの様子をくだらないと鼻で笑う。その後も何度か相談するも、結局彼らが私の提案を受け入れることはなかった。そんなある日、旅館に常連のお客様から電話があった。対応したアキコさんは電話の途中で驚いたような声を上げる。
まあ、おめでとうございます。
その常連客は高橋徹さんという年配の方で、若い頃からよくこの旅館を利用していたらしい。最近では孫の翼さんやそのお嫁さんであるかなさんも一緒に来ることがある。どうやら今回そのお孫さん夫婦に子供が生まれたようなのだ。
そうですね。赤ちゃん連れだとなかなか受け入れてくれる旅館も少ないですよね。
あきこさんはうんうんとしたり顔でうなずいている。電話の向こうの声は聞こえないが、彼女の受け答えから察するに、高橋さん家族は赤ちゃんを連れて行ける旅館が見つからず困っているようだ。やっぱり赤ちゃん向けのサービスは必要ね。後で改めてあきこさんたちにお願いしてみないと。そんな風に思っていたその時、私の耳に衝撃的な言葉が飛び込んできた。
実は、私どもの旅館ではこれから赤ちゃん連れのお客様に向けたサービスを行う予定でして。はい。はい、そうなんですよ。
私はびっくりして目を丸くし、信じられない思いであきこさんのことを見つめた。彼女は私の視線に気づきながらも、私が提案したサービスをさも自分が考え出したかのように説明し続ける。ベビーバスにおもちゃのある部屋、子供用アメニティ。それらはすべてあきこさんたちに馬鹿にされ却下された案だった。高橋さんに褒められたのか、あきこさんはありがとうございますと得意顔。私が唖然として固まっていると、周りの従業員たちが心配そうな顔でこちらの様子を伺ってきた。子供向けのサービスを思いついたとき、私は他の従業員たちにもこんなサービスはどうかしらと相談していたので、彼らも事情はわかっている。そのため、私の案を堂々と自分のアイデアとして話すあきこさんに、彼らも呆れ顔だ。ただ、それを直接口に出す者はいない。あきこさんに逆らえば、ここで働けなくなるかもしれないのだから、それも仕方ない。私も他のお客様がいる前で、あきこさんに文句を言うわけにもいかず、イライラした気持ちを抱えながらも、その場はぐっと我慢した。その日の業務終了後、私は早速あきこさんに今回の件を抗議しに行った。どういうことですか？さっき電話で説明していた子供向けのサービス。あれは全部私が発案したものじゃないですか。
いきなり何なのよ、うるさいわね。
私が提案した時は却下していたのに。するとあきこさんは顔をしかめ、いまいましそうに私を睨んだ。
あなたの単なる思いつきが本当に役立つかどうか、じっくり考えた上で採用してあげたんじゃない。それを、まるで私が横取りしたみたいに言うなんて、どうかしてるわ。
あきこさんは、 都合のいい言葉ばかり並べる。これまでも彼女の態度には嫌な思いをさせられてきたが、いくらなんでもこれはあんまりだ。しかし、匠もそんな母親の味方をし、一緒になって私を責めてくる。
まったくだ。母さんのおかげでお前のくだらない思いつきが活かせるようになったっていうのに、自分の手柄にしようとするなんてずうずうしい。
吐き捨てるようにそう言われ、私の頭にカッと血が昇る。これは私が真剣に頭を悩ませて考え出したアイデアなのに。そう怒鳴りかけ、私は従業員たちの視線に気づき、我に返った。彼らの態度には心底嫌気がさすが、ここで争ってもいいことはない。それに、私は別に手柄が欲しいわけではなく、ただ、お客様のためになるサービスを提供したいだけだ。何はともあれ、このサービスでお客様が喜んでくれているのなら、それでいいじゃないか。私は心の中でそう折り合いをつけ、明子さんと匠への不満を飲み込むことにした。その後、始めた子供向けサービスは常連さんたちにとても喜ばれ、さらにそこから口コミが広がり、新規利用客も順調に増えていった。ついにはテレビの取材まで来るようになり、明子さんと匠は毎日ニコニコ顔。テレビには二人揃って出演し、このサービスは私たちが考えました、と熱弁していた。さらに、彼らは私のことを出来損ないの嫁として紹介していたが、さすがにそんなコメントを放送するわけにいかなかったのか、そのシーンはカットされていた。そのことにほっとしていると、明子さんが、あら残念ね、とあざけるように笑う。せっかく全国の皆様にあなたの役立たずぶりを教えてあげようと思ったのに。そのまま流してくれれば面白かったのにな。そんなことを言いながら笑い合う二人に、私はいたたまれなくなり、その場から逃げ出した。旅館の経営はそれからも右肩上がりで、明子さんと匠はさらに調子づいていく。これまでずっと私に業務を丸投げしてきたというのに、よくもそこまで鼻高々になれるものだ。従業員たちも呆れ顔で何かと私の心配をしてくれる。私はそんな彼らの気持ちをありがたく受け取りながら淡々と日々の業務をこなしていた。常連さんだけでなく若い家族連れなどからも支持を集めるようになった旅館はその後も順調に成長していった。この頃になるとだいぶ羽振りが良くなったのか、明子さんは年に数回親戚を集めるようになった。親戚は総勢97人で、中には医者やテレビに出るような有名人も多い。その日も旅館には親戚たちが勢揃いし、語らいながら大いに飲み食いしていた。私は彼らの給仕に忙しく、座っている暇もない。しかし、明子さんと匠は他の親戚たちと一緒に座り込み、浴びるようにお酒を飲んでいた。これも毎度のことだが、いつ見てもいい気分はしない。私が作り笑いをしながら必死に給仕をしていると、明子さんと匠が自慢話を始めた。こんなにお客さんが増えたのは、俺と母さんが新しいサービスを始めたからなんだ。そうなのよ。やっぱり今の時代は子供にも優しい旅館作りを目指さないとね。昔のままのやり方じゃいつまで経っても成長できないから。よく言うわ。子供向けのサービスなんて無駄だって息巻いてたくせに。呆れた思いで彼らの話を聞いていた私だったが、一緒に給仕している従業員たちも白け顔だ。彼らも私と同じ気持ちかと思うと少し心強い。二人の自慢はその後も続いていたが、内容が徐々に私に対する悪口へと移っていった。それにしても、
うちの嫁は本当に役立たずで、子育て中の母親なのにこんなことも思いつかないんですよ。ろくな子育てもしてないから仕方ないけどな。サトシは俺に似て立派に育ったからよかったよ。そう言って、匠は近くにいるサトシの肩を抱き寄せた。今はもう小学校高学年になっているサトシは居心地悪そうな顔でうつむいている。まったく仕事もできない上に子育てもできないんじゃ何のための嫁なんだかさっぱりわからないな。大口を開けて下品に笑う匠に私はさすがに我慢ができなくなった。確かに彼らはサトシのことを可愛がってきた。でも、ただそれだけだ。世話をするのでもなければ子供の心に寄り添うわけでもない。それなのに、よくもここまで大きな口を叩けたものだ。匠、あきこさん、少し向こうでお話よろしいですか？親戚一同の前で言い合いをするわけにもいかず、私は落ち着いた声で彼らに声をかけた。しかし、二人は蔑むような目で私をちらりと見ただけで、その場から動こうとしない。それどころか、さらなる暴言を重ねてきた。この役立たずが偉そうに。食事会の最中に何を言い出すのよ。嫁は嫁らしく黙って皆さんのお世話をしてなさい。まったくだ。お前なんか、俺がもらってやらなかったら仕事も結婚もできなかっただろう。もっと俺たちに感謝して謙虚に振る舞うべきだろうが。なんてひどい。悔しくて悲しくて目に涙が浮かんでくる。すると、そんな私のもとにサトシが駆け寄り、大丈夫？と声をかけてくれる。唯一味方をしてくれる息子の存在に助けられたのもつかの間。サトシが私をかばうのが気に食わなかったのか、匠がむすっとした顔で彼をどこかに連れて行ってしまった。あきこさんは何事もなかったかのように食事会を続け、いたたまれなくなった私は逃げるようにその場から立ち去る。そして、自分の部屋に戻ると、誰にも聞かせられない胸の内をノートに書き殴った。感情のままに自分の気持ちを綴っていると、少し心が落ち着いてくる。私はこれをきっかけにブログと呼ばれるインターネット上の日記を作成し、匠たちの言動やその時に感じたことなどを記すようになっていったのだった。その後も、あきこさんや匠の私に対する態度は相変わらずで、離婚したいと思うことも少なくなかった。ただ、離婚となれば、サトシから父親や祖母を奪ってしまうことになる。旅館を継がせたいという思惑があったとしても、彼らがサトシを可愛がっているのは事実である。その姿を見ていると、どうしても離婚を決意することができなかったのだ。そんなサトシも15歳となり、身長も夫とほとんど変わらなくなってきた。この頃になると、あきこさんや匠の言動はさらにエスカレート。さらに、私をかばおうとしてくれる従業員にまで辛く当たるようになっていった。こうなると、誰もあきこさんたちに強く意見することができなくなり、私は仕事中でも孤立するようになってしまう。そんな私の姿を見ては、匠とあきこさんは意地の悪い顔で笑うのだった。ただ、従業員たちは心の中では私の味方をしてくれているので、二人のいないところで話しかけたり、元気づけたりしてくれる。それだけでも、この時の私にとっては嬉しいことだった。ある日、久しぶりに高橋さんのお孫さん家族がうちの旅館へとやってきた。彼らは、お祝い事や長期休暇のたびに旅館を利用してくれている。ようこそいらっしゃいました。翼さんとかなさんを満面の笑みで出迎えるあきこさん。彼らのおじいさんである高橋さんは
常連客の中でもかなりの資産家なので、明子さんはその孫夫婦である二人にも気に入られようと必死なのだ。荷物を受け取りながらせっせとごまをすりまくる。その姿に呆れていると、かなさんが後ろに控えている私に気づいた。水木さん、お久しぶり。元気そうでよかったわ。お久しぶりです。お二人も元気そうで何よりです。笑顔でかなさんと挨拶を交わす私を、明子さんがぎろりと睨む。かなさん夫婦の手前何も言わないが、面白く思っていないのが丸わかりだ。これまでに何度も顔を合わせているうちに、私とかなさんは仲良くなり、今ではまるで友達のような関係となっている。もちろんお客様なので丁寧に接してはいるが、私たちはお互いに年に数回会えるのを楽しみにしているのだった。かなさんたちはそれから3日間を旅館でのんびりと過ごし、笑顔で帰っていった。彼らが満足してくれたのは嬉しいが、私はこの後のことを考えて憂鬱になる。
あなた、一体何を考えてるのよ。
見送りが終わるなり、明子さんがこちらを睨みながら怒鳴り声を上げた。あまりにも予想通りの展開に、私は驚くこともなく冷静に言葉を返す。何のことですか？
とぼけないで。高橋さんのお孫さん夫婦にあんなに慣れ慣れしく接して。あなたのせいでこの旅館の質が低下したと思われたらどうするのよ。
何やらそれらしいことを言っているが、彼女の本音は違う。私が乗客に気に入られているのが気に食わないだけなのだ。私はもう何か言い返す気力もなく、小さい声で、すみません、とだけ謝る。ところが、その態度すら気に障ったようで、明子さんはますます怒りを大きくした。
あんなの、その謝り方は。私のことを馬鹿にしてるの？そんなんだからいつまで経っても一人前になれないのよ。
それからも、明子さんの説教は延々と続いたが、疲れ切っている私の耳に、それらはほとんど入ってこない。何を言われているのか全く理解できないまま、私はおとなしく彼女の話を聞いていた。そこへ、明子さんの怒鳴り声を聞いたサトシが駆けつけてきた。おばあちゃん、やめてよ！サトシは私をかばうように立ちはだかり、両手を広げる。私は息子の勇姿に胸が熱くなり、思わず涙ぐんでしまった。ハラハラしながら様子を伺っていた従業員たちも、ほっとしたような顔をする。明子さんはもちろんむっとした顔で言い返そうとしたが、それより早く声を上げた人物がいた。それは、私が怒られる様子をずっと楽しそうに見ていた匠である。おばあちゃんは、おかみとしての心得をお母さんに教えてるんだ。子供が口を挟むことじゃない。サトシは、父親に怒鳴られ口をつぐんだが、その顔は必ずしも納得しているとは言えなかった。しかし、息子が黙り込んだことで満足したのか、匠はそれ以上は何も言わず、明子さんと共に立ち去ったのだった。それからしばらくして、毎年恒例の日がやってくる。97人の親戚が勢揃いし、宴を催す日だ。もちろん私は今年も給仕係。匠と明子さんはいつものようにガバガバとお酒を飲んでご機嫌な様子。すると、お酒に酔った匠が笑いながらこんなことを言い出した。
聞いてくれよ。うちの嫁本当に使えなくてさ。もう使用人いいか。仕方ないから俺が生かしてやってんだ。
信じがたいセリフに、私は一瞬自分の耳を疑う。しかし、 どうやら聞き間違いではなかったようだ。匠は呆然と佇む私を見ながら、明子さんと一緒になってニヤニヤしている。親戚たちは、まあまあ、そこまで言わなくても、などとなだめてはいるが、基本的に匠たちのことを疑っていないようだ。呆れたような目で私のことを見ている。なんでみんなそんな目で私を見るの？私は私なりに、この旅館のためにずっと頑張ってきたのに。誰も私のことを信じてくれないし、誰も私のことを認めてくれない。そう思うと、すべてが虚しく、どうでもよくなってきた。私は大笑いしながら、お酒を飲んでいる匠のもとに向かうと、感情の抜け落ちた顔で静かに彼を見下ろす。
なんだ？なんか文句でもあるのか？
文句じゃなくて、さっきの言葉を訂正しようと思って。私があなたに生かされてるんじゃなくて、あなたが私に生かされてるの間違いでしょ？
なんだと？
だって、子供向けのサービスを考えたのは私だもの。あなたたちは何もしてないじゃない。私がきっぱりそう言うと、周りにいた親戚たちがどよめいた。そして、どういうことかと、匠たちの方を見る。匠と明子さんは真っ赤になり、焦って大声を上げた。
何を言ってるんだ？嘘をつくな。そうよ。あのサービスは、私と匠が発案したものよ。それを自分が考えたなんて、ずうずうしい。
その後も、二人は聞くに耐えない暴言で私のことを罵り続ける。さすがに度を越した罵詈雑言に、親戚たちが眉を潜めるが、彼らは全く気づいていないようだ。息を切らしながらも、思いつく限りの悪口を並べ立て、最後にこう怒鳴った。
お前みたいな女とは離婚だ。そうよ。さっさと出て行きなさい。
わかりました。離婚します。間髪を入れずにそう答えると、二人はぎょっとしたような顔をした。そして、途端にうろたえ始める。
お前、そんなこと言っていいのか？離婚だぞ、離婚。離婚したら、サトシにはもう二度と会わせませんからね。それでもいいの？
まるで、サトシを人質のように扱うアキコさんに、私は顔をしかめる。さすがに言い返そうとしたその時、黙って一部始終を見ていたサトシが口を開いた。二人が離婚したら、俺はお母さんについてくよ。あっけらかんとそう宣言するサトシに、匠とアキコさんが驚いた顔をする。
なんだと？お前、ここまで育ててもらった恩を忘れたのか？
俺を育ててくれたのはお母さんだけだよ。この旅館がここまで繁盛するようになったのだって、全部お母さんのおかげじゃないか。息子に淡々と反論され、匠は言葉に詰まる。息子に拒否された匠は、悔しそうな顔をしながら、今度は収入のことを持ち出してきた。
離婚したとして、どうやって生きていくつもりだ？お前なんかを雇ってくれるとこがあると思ってるのか？
まったく、どこまで私を見下せば気が済むのか。私、一人で生きていけるので。確かに、私はこの旅館以外に社会経験はないが、女将として旅館の経営から企画、接客まで、ありとあらゆることを学んできた。離婚したとしても、どこかの会社で雇ってもらえる自信はある。ただ、それほど焦って再就職先を見つけなくても、私には普通に生活していけるだけの収入源があるのだ。心配はご無用よ。私、以前からブログを書いてるんだけど、そのブログのおかげでまとまった収入があるの。
は？ブログだと？
ええ。今後のことは弁護士に相談するつもりだから、 ちなみに、弁護士は翼さんに頼むわ。
翼さんって。
常連の高橋さんのお孫さんよ。高橋翼さん。そう言うと、匠と明子さんの顔が一気に青ざめた。何かを言いたげに口をパクパクさせるが、声が出てこないようだ。実は、奥さんのかなさんとは連絡先を交換してて、翼さんにも何かあったらいつでも相談してくださいって言われてるの。私とかなさんの仲がいいことは知っていただろうが、まさか連絡先まで交換していたとは思わなかったのだろう。匠と明子さんは愕然とし、目に見えて焦り出す。
急に連絡したら迷惑だろ。それに、こんな内輪の話、お客様に聞かせるものじゃない。
かなさんにはこれまでも相談に乗ってもらっているし、二人ともうちの事情はよく知ってるわよ。そう言うと、匠は絶望的な顔になり、体を小刻みに震わせ始める。明子さんに至ってはすでに半泣きだ。旅館にとってお金持ちの高橋さんは逃すことのできない大事なお客様だ。その孫夫婦に自分たちがしたことを知られてしまったのだから、泣きたくなる気持ちもわかる。しかし、悪事をばらされて焦るくらいなら最初からしなければいいのだ。すべては彼らの自業自得。今更あがいたところでどうにもならないだろう。ところが、匠はまだ諦めきれないようで、今度は私のブログについてケチをつけてきた。
ブログの収入なんてどうせ大したことないんだろう。このまま離婚したら絶対に後悔することになるぞ。
大丈夫よ。あなたたちが私のことをボロクソに言ってくれたおかげで、私のブログなかなかの人気なの。
どういうことだ？
わけがわからないという顔をする匠に、私はブログの内容を教えてあげた。そして、自分たちのこれまでの言動がすべてブログによって暴露されていると知り、顔を引きつらせる。明子さんは泣きながら顔を赤くしたり、青くしたりと大忙しだ。さらに、ブログの収益を聞いた二人は予想外の額に驚き、匠もそれ以上は何も言えなくなったようだ。周りの親戚たちも黙り込んでいるが、彼らの様子は匠たちとは少し異なる。私たちのやりとりに驚いているのは確かだが、それ以上に彼らの目にはありありと疑いの色が浮かんでいた。私の語った事実がこれまで聞いていた話とまるで違っていたからだろう。彼らは不信感に満ちた表情で匠と明子さんを見ている。私は静まり返った部屋で大きく息を吐くと、サトシの手を取って彼らに告げた。では、私は出て行きますので、後のことは弁護士に聞いてください。
ちょっと待て！
その言葉に、我に返った匠と明子さんが慌てて私にすがってくる。
頼む。離婚だけは考え直してくれ。私からもお願いよ。これまでのことは謝るから。
先に離婚だ。出て行け。と言ったのはそっちのくせに。今更必死になって引き止めようとする二人。呆れすぎて、もう何も言う気力がない。私は彼らの懇願を完全に無視し、サトシと共に部屋を出て行こうとした。その時、悲鳴のような声で匠が私の名前を呼ぶ。何事かと思って振り向くと、そこには親戚たちに囲まれた匠と明子さんの姿があった。親戚たちは聞いていた話と全然違うと怒り、匠たちを責めている。また、中には弁護士沙汰になることを心配する声もあった。親戚たちの中には、この旅館が有名になったのをきっかけに仕事がうまくいった人もいる。もちろん彼らを助ける義理なんてない。親戚たちもどうなろうと私には関係ないことなので、彼らが騒いでいる間に私は さっさとその場を後にした。途中、何人かの従業員たちとすれ違うも、彼らの反応は、ついにこの日が来たかという感じだった。彼らにとって、私が出ていくことは想定内だったのだろう。それほど驚いていないようだ。彼らは、匠や明子さんにバレないようこっそりと私に笑いかけてくれる。そんな彼らに私も微笑み返しながら頭を下げ、サトシと一緒に旅館から立ち去った。一旦帰宅した私たちは急いで荷物をまとめ、すぐに近くのホテルへと避難する。勢いで出てきてしまったため、住む場所を確保していなかったのだ。私はネットで住宅情報を見ようとスマホを取り出し、そこでふとかなさんのことを思い出した。かなさんにはこれまで散々愚痴を聞いてもらっていたことだし、一応今回のことを知らせておいた方がいいだろう。そう思い、LINE で簡単にことの経緯を報告すると、すぐさま既読になり、電話がかかってきた。家を出たって本当？私は今日会ったことを手短に話す。彼女は匠たちの言動に怒りながらも、私のことを案じ、ホテルまで行くと言ってくれた。そんな彼女の気持ちを嬉しく思いつつも、私は大丈夫だからとだけ伝えて電話を切る。それから荷物の整理などをして2時間ほど経っただろうか。お腹が空いたというサトシの声に晩ご飯がまだだったことを思い出す。サトシは宴会に参加していたが、ろくに食事を取らなかったようだ。じゃあ、コンビニに何か買いに行こうか。ハンドバッグだけ持って、サトシと出かけようとした私は、ホテルのロビーで信じられないものを見た。なんと、匠と明子さんが怖い顔をしながらホテルに乗り込んできたのだ。なんで？私が顔を引きつらせると、こちらに気づいた匠がにやりと笑い、得意げに自分のスマホを取り出した。お前の居場所なんて GPS ですぐにわかるんだよ。それを聞いて、私は自分のスマホに GPS アプリが入っていることを思い出した。そういえば、匠たちに入れるよう言われて、仕方なくダウンロードしたが、昔のことすぎてそんなことはすっかり忘れていた。自分のうかつさを呪うがもう遅い。私がたじろいでいる間にも、二人はつかつかと近づいてきて、私たちの前に立ちはだかる。お前のせいでひどい目にあった。結婚してからずっとあの旅館で働かせてやったっていうのに、この恩知らずが。本当よ。これまで悠々と暮らしてくれたのは誰のおかげだと思ってるの？役立たずの嫁は黙って私たちに従っていればいいのよ。二人は先ほどの鬱憤を晴らすかのように口汚く私を罵り始める。サトシがかばってくれようとするが、まだ口も力も大人にはかなわない。巧に軽くあしらわれてしまった。騒ぎに気づいたホテルの人たちも駆けつけてくれるが、匠たちが止まることはなかった。私を徹底的に追い詰めるかのように、大声で暴言をまき散らす。せっかく自由になれたと思ったのに、こんな簡単に見つかってしまうなんて。そう思いながら目に涙を浮かべたとき、入り口の方から私を呼ぶ声が聞こえた。
水木さん、大丈夫？
そこにいたのは、かなさんと夫の翼さんだった。二人は急いで私と匠たちの間に割って入ると、彼らのことを睨みつけた。
これは一体どういうことですか？
匠も、明子さんも、意外な人物の登場に驚き、ぴたりと口をつぐんだ。そして、
愛想笑いを浮かべて、かなさんたちに尋ねる。
あら、奇遇ですね。お二人とも今日はこちらにお泊まりに？
いいえ、私は水木さんから話を聞いてここに来たんです。何があったかはもうすべてわかってますよ。彼女の言葉に、明子さんと匠は一瞬顔を歪めるが、すぐに平然と嘘を並べ始めた。誤解です。今回のはそいつの単なるわがままなんですよ。
そうですわ。旅館の仕事がきつくて逃げ出したものですから、少しばかりお説教をしていただけなんです。
これがお説教ですか？これまで黙っていた翼さんが呆れたようにつぶやき、素早くスマホを操作した。その途端、匠と明子さんの罵声がロビー中に響き渡り、二人は顔を真っ青にする。先ほどの様子はすべて動画で撮影してあります。世間ではこれをお説教とは言いませんよ。
いえ、それは
そちらの旅館のことは気に入ってましたが、これは今後の付き合い方を祖父と相談しないといけないかな。ぽつりとつぶやくように言う翼さんのセリフに、二人は大慌て。
どうかそれだけは。お願いします。おじいさまには黙っていてもらえませんか？
翼さんに必死にすがりつくも、彼はそんな二人を冷たい目で見るだけだった。そうこうしているうちに、ホテルの人が呼んだ警察官が到着し、匠と明子さんに外に出るよう促す。その時になって、二人はようやく事の重大さに気づいたのか、慌てて言い訳を始めたが、彼らの言い分を聞く者は誰もいなかった。結局二人は正気を失った顔でふらふらと警察官についていった。お母さん、もう大丈夫だよ。優しく励ましてくれる息子に微笑んだ後、私はホテルの人たちやかなさん夫婦に心配をかけたことを謝る。かなさんは無事でよかったと私のことを抱きしめ、翼さんは改めて力になることを約束してくれた。ようやく安堵した私は、サトシと顔を見合わせて笑い、一刻も早く離婚を成立させようと心に決めるのだった。その後、匠と明子さんの嘘を信じていた親戚は私に謝罪。私はその謝罪を素直に受け入れることにした。親戚たちは私の反応にほっとし、これからは匠と明子さんが暴走しないよう見張ると約束してくれた。そのおかげか、この日以降匠と明子さんが私に会いに来ることはなく、離婚も無事に成立した。また、翼さんが弁護士として間に立ってくれたため、慰謝料などの話にも素直に応じてきた。翼さんとかなさんには本当にいくら感謝しても足りないくらいだ。あの二人がいなかったら、私たち親子は今でもあの旅館で息苦しい生活を送っていただろう。彼らは今回のことを祖父である高橋さんにわざわざ言うことはなかったが、高橋さんは私が旅館からいなくなったことで異変に気づいたらしい。問い詰められた翼さんが仕方なく全てを語ったところ、家族を大事にしている高橋さんは激怒したらしい。それ以来、旅館には来なくなったということだ。高橋さんは単なるお金持ちというだけでなく、不動産界隈では有名人で、それだけ顔も広く影響力の高い人だった。明子さんの代でお世話になっている常連客たちは、ほとんどが高橋さんから紹介された人たち。その常連客たちも、 高橋さんから事情を聞いて離れていってしまったため、旅館の予約はほとんどなくなってしまったらしい。さらに、あの日、ホテルで騒いでいた姿を他の宿泊客が撮影していたらしく、動画で拡散されたようだ。匠と明子さんはテレビの取材などで顔が知られていたため、その動画は瞬く間に話題となり、テレビニュースでも取り上げられてしまった。そのせいで、常連客以外の新規客も次々と離れていってしまったという。これらの話は、離婚が成立した後にすべてかなさんから聞いた。かなさんとは今でも連絡を取り合っており、もはや親友と呼べるくらいの関係となっている。お上とお客様という立場ではなくなり、これまでより気楽に付き合えるようになったおかげだ。ようやく新生活にも慣れてきたある日、私はかなさんから誘われて彼女とお茶をすることになった。そういえば、水木さんのブログ人気みたいね。おかげさまで。かなさんの言葉に私は苦笑しながら答える。今回の件がニュースで取り上げられたことで、私のブログは爆発的にアクセスが伸び、収入も激増。私はブログに旅館の名前は出してないのだが、内容的にあの旅館のことであると気づいた読者が多かったようだ。最近ではブログを漫画にしないかという話まで舞い込んだが、さすがにこれは丁重にお断りした。もう仕事しなくてもブログだけで生活できるんじゃない？そうなんだけど、ブログの収入はいつなくなるかわからないしね。サトシのためにもお金はたくさん貯めないと。あの後、サトシとアパートの一室に引っ越した私は、女将としての経験が活かせる接客業の仕事を始めた。知らず知らずのうちに磨かれていた接客技術は職場で称賛され、今では同僚からも頼りにされている。周りから認められ信頼されることがこんなに嬉しいことだと、私はこの年になって初めて知った。確かにお金はいくらあっても困らないもんね。でも新しい仕事が順調みたいでよかったわ。それに引き換え。そこで彼女は一度言葉を切り、クスクスと笑い出す。どうしたの？あの人たちのこと思い出しちゃって。あの人たちとは、匠と明子さんのことだろう。かなさんが言うには、元義実家の旅館は今や見るも無残な状態になっているという。これまでの業務も新たなサービスも、私に丸投げしてきた匠と明子さんは何をやってもうまくいかず、旅館には全くお客様が寄りつかないらしい。まあ、今のあの旅館の売りは子供に優しい旅館というものだけど、彼らが家族連れに優しいサービスなど提供できるわけがない。お客様が寄りつかなくなるのも当然といえば当然ね。しかも、匠と明子さんは経営がうまくいかない怒りを従業員にぶつけているらしく、何人もの従業員が辞めていったそうだ。従業員もいない、お客様も来ないでは、あの旅館ももう長くはないだろう。そんなことを考えていると、かなさんが話題を変えて明るい声で聞いてきた。そういえば、さとしくんは元気？ええ、新しい学校で楽しくやってるわ。後継ぎ言われなくなって、ストレスも減ったみたい。今回の件で、ようやく彼らの呪縛から逃れられ、毎日のびのびと過ごしている。また、私は知らなかったが、匠たちは、サトシの進学先についても口うるさく指示していたらしい。それもなくなったことで、自分の好きな学校に行けると喜んでいた。二人とも 幸せそうね。ええ、とっても。笑顔で即答する私を見て、かなさんも嬉しそうに微笑む。結婚してから長い間、とにかく辛いことがたくさんあった。でも、辛かったことばかりではない。従業員たちとは仲良く仕事をしていたし、お客様との関わりも楽しかった。何より、今私がこうして職場で頼りにされているのは、女将としてあの旅館で働いてきたおかげだ。これまでの過去を否定するのではなく、過去を糧にしながら新たな未来に向かっていこうと思う。